Do you find yourself crying easily, whether it's during a heartfelt movie scene, hearing a beautiful piece of music, or witnessing a simple act of kindness? Maybe you felt a lump in your throat at the most unexpected moments, wondering, why am I so emotional? You're not alone. Many people experience this, but few dare to explore what it truly means. We're often told that crying is a sign of weakness or that being too emotional is something to fix. But what if I told you that this tendency to cry might not be a flaw at all? What if it's a sign of something deeper, a secret you've been carrying, even unknowingly? Tears have a language all their own. They reflect the unspoken truths of your heart, speaking in ways words cannot. They might reveal past wounds, a longing for connection, or even a hidden strength you didn't know you had. But here's the thing. Crying easily might actually point to a profound emotional and spiritual depth that's begging to be understood. As Psalm 56:8 beautifully reminds us, "You have kept count of my tossings, put my tears in your bottle. Are they not in your book?" Your tears matter. They're not just fleeting moments of vulnerability. They're divine markers of your journey, pieces of a bigger story about who you are and where you're headed. In this video, we'll explore the psychological, emotional, and spiritual reasons behind why you cry so easily. By the end, you'll see this part of yourself not as a bird, as a gift, one that can help you connect more deeply with yourself, others, and even your purpose in life. Let's uncover the truth behind your tears. You might just discover they're not a weakness, but a sign of incredible strength. Section 1, the psychology of tears. Crying is something we all do, but few of us stop to think about why. What makes us cry? And why do some people seem to cry more than others? Let's start by breaking down the psychology of tears and what they reveal about you. The science of crying. First, it's important to understand that not all tears are created equal. Scientists have identified 3 types of tears: basal, reflex, and emotional. Basal tears are the ones that keep your eyes moist and healthy. Reflex tears appear when your eyes react to irritants like onions or smoke. But emotional tears, those are the ones that hold the most meaning. Emotional tears are unique because they contain stress hormones and other toxins, meaning that crying isn't just an emotional release, it's a physical one too. Research shows that crying can help restore emotional balance by calming the body and releasing pent-up stress. When you cry, your heart rate slows, your breathing evens out, and your body enters a more relaxed state. In short, crying is your brain's way of saying, you need to let this out. Why some people cry more than others? Have you ever wondered why some people seem more prone to tears than others? The answer often lies in our brains and personalities. For one, people who are highly empathetic, those who deeply feel the emotions of others, are more likely to cry. This is linked to something called mirror neurons, which allow us to connect with and feel what others are experiencing. When you see someone else in pain or joy, your brain mirrors their emotions, making you more likely to tear up. Moreover, people who are more emotionally intelligent, those who are in tune with their own feelings, often cry more because they're not afraid to process emotions deeply. Instead of suppressing their feelings, they let them flow naturally. It's also worth noting that crying can be linked to heightened sensitivity, a personality trait where people feel things more intensely. This isn't a flaw. It's a gift that allows you to experience life with extraordinary depth and richness. The hidden struggles behind tears. However, frequent crying can sometimes point to something more profound. For many, it's a sign of unresolved grief, past trauma, or suppressed emotions. Maybe you've been carrying a burden you haven't fully addressed, and your tears are your body's way of saying, pay attention to me. Think back to the last time you cried. Was it about something small, like dropping your coffee, or something bigger, like an argument with someone you care about? Often, those seemingly small moments are triggers for deeper feelings that have been building over time. Sometimes, crying isn't about the present moment at all. It's about the emotions you've been holding on to for years. For example, unprocessed grief from losing a loved one, unresolved conflicts from childhood, or even the stress of feeling like you're not enough. Tears act as a release valve, letting those bottled up feelings finally escape. Crying isn't a weakness, it's a strength. There's a common misconception that crying makes you weak, but the truth is, it takes incredible strength to be vulnerable. Psychologists often point out that tears are a sign of emotional courage, a willingness to face your feelings instead of running from them. In fact, crying often reflects how deeply you care. Whether it's sadness, joy, or empathy, tears show that you're connected to the world and the people around you. As we move forward, we'll explore how this connection goes beyond the psychological. It delves into the spiritual. Because sometimes, those tears are more than just a physical response. They're your soul speaking. Let's find out what it's trying to say. Section 2. The spiritual meaning behind tears. Tears aren't just a biological response to emotions. They carry a deeper spiritual meaning. In moments of profound joy, sorrow, or awe, crying can feel like something more than a release. It's as if your soul is speaking a language that words cannot capture. Let's explore the spiritual significance of tears and what they might reveal about your connection to something greater than yourself. Tears as a divine language. Have you ever felt like your tears were saying something you couldn't put into words? The Bible acknowledges this phenomenon, offering a beautiful perspective on tears as a form of divine communication. Psalm 56:8 says, "You have kept count of my tossings. Put my tears in your bottle. Are they not in your book?" This verse suggests that your tears are sacred to God. Each one is noticed, valued, and remembered. Your tears could be a way your soul reaches out to God, expressing emotions you can't articulate. Whether it's sorrow, gratitude, or longing, crying can be a spiritual experience that reminds you of your connection to something greater than yourself. The role of vulnerability in spiritual growth. Crying often comes from a place of vulnerability, and vulnerability is essential for spiritual growth. When you cry, you're acknowledging your human fragility, your need for love, healing, and connection. C.S. Lewis captures this beautifully. We must lay before him what is in us, not what ought to be in us. Tears are often the purest expression of this truth. They strip away the masks we wear, revealing our authentic selves. In moments of vulnerability, we're most open to transformation. Spiritual traditions across cultures recognize tears as a powerful force for renewal. In Christianity, tears of repentance signify a turning point, a release of guilt and shame, and an invitation for divine grace. In other traditions, tears represent the cleansing of the soul, washing away what no longer serves you to make space for healing. Have you ever cried without knowing exactly why? Sometimes, tears represent unspoken prayers, yearnings that lie deep within your heart. When words fail, tears become the prayer. Theologians often say that God understands the language of tears. In Romans 8:26, the Apostle Paul writes, "The Spirit helps us in our weakness. We do not know what we ought to pray for, but the Spirit Himself intercedes for us through wordless groans." Your tears are a form of these wordless groans, a direct line of communication with the divine. C.S. Lewis, in his Reflections on Grief, observed that tears are not just an emotional reaction, but a response to the gap between what we long for and what we experience. They reflect the deepest desires of the soul, desires for love, meaning, and connection. The beauty of tears in awe and joy. It's not just sadness that brings tears. Moments of awe, gratitude, and overwhelming joy often lead us to cry. Think of times when you've been moved by a sunset, a piece of music, or a simple act of kindness. These moments point to something transcendent, a reminder that life is filled with beauty and wonder beyond what we can see or touch. Crying in these moments is a spiritual recognition of something sacred. It's as if your soul is saying, "This matters. This is holy." A path to deeper connection. Ultimately, tears invite us to reconnect with ourselves, with others, and with God. They're a reminder that we're not meant to go through life numbly or alone. Crying is a bridge, bringing us closer to our truest selves and to the divine love that holds us. So the next time you cry, don't see it as something to hide or be ashamed of. See it as an invitation to listen to your soul in a way to draw closer to the beauty and mystery of life itself. Section 3. The secret you might be hiding. If you cry easily, it's possible that your tears are pointing to a deeper truth about yourself, something you've been carrying, maybe even hiding, without fully realizing it. Let's explore what your tears might reveal about the secret within you and why embracing this truth could transform your life, uncovering emotional depths. Crying often comes from a place of profound emotional depth. It's not just about what's happening on the surface, a sad movie, a heartfelt song, or even a frustrating day. Instead, it reflects the emotions beneath the surface, the ones you might not even be fully aware of. Many people who cry easily are deeply sensitive, not just to their own feelings, but to the emotions of others. This heightened sensitivity is often a sign that you're deeply attuned to the world around you. It's a strength, but it can also mean you absorb the pain, joy, and energy of others like a sponge. However, this sensitivity can also be a clue that you've been suppressing something. When we push emotions down, whether out of fear, shame, or survival, they don't disappear. They wait, often surfacing in unexpected ways, like tears at seemingly small moments, connection to childhood and past experiences. To understand why you cry easily, it's worth looking back at your past. Our childhood experiences shape the way we process emotions as adults. If you grew up in an environment where your feelings weren't validated, you might have learned to suppress them. But over time, suppressed emotions find a way to rise to the surface, often through tears. For example, if you experienced loss, neglect, or trauma as a child, you might have built walls around those painful memories to protect yourself. Crying now could be your body's way of releasing the emotions you weren't able to process back then. Even joyful tears can have roots in the past. Sometimes, when you encounter a moment of pure love or kindness, it touches a part of you that longed for that experience in your earlier years. Your tears aren't just about the present, they're about the fulfillment of a deep emotional need that's been with you for a long time. A call to self-acceptance. One of the biggest secrets behind frequent tears is the simple truth that you're human. We live in a world that often tells us to toughen up, to hide our vulnerabilities and present a strong front. But crying easily means you haven't lost touch with your authentic self. C.S. Lewis once wrote, "Courage is not simply one of the virtues, but the form of every virtue at the testing point." It takes courage to allow yourself to cry, to let down the walls and face your emotions honestly. Tears are not a sign of weakness. They're a sign that you're alive, fully feeling, and deeply engaged with life. Reframing tears as strength. The secret you might be hiding is that your tears are not a burden. They're a gift. They're a sign that you care deeply, that you feel deeply, and that you are capable of profound love and connection. Instead of seeing your tendency to cry as something to fix, what if you embraced it as a strength? Crying means you're connected to your emotional core, and that connection is what allows you to grow, heal, and thrive. Your tears also serve as a bridge, connecting you to others. When you cry, you invite people into your world, showing them that it's safe to be vulnerable. This authenticity can strengthen relationships, inspire empathy, and create deeper bonds. The secret isn't a weakness, it's a superpower. At the heart of it, the secret behind your tears might be that you've been hiding just how strong you are. Strength isn't about never breaking, it's about allowing yourself to break open, to feel, and to heal. By embracing your tears, you're not just acknowledging your emotions, you're honoring them. And in doing so, you're stepping into the fullness of who you were meant to be. Now to Section 4, Embracing Your Emotional Side. Crying easily can sometimes feel like a burden in a world that values stoicism and self-control. But the truth is, your emotional side is a gift, one that can lead to deeper self-awareness, richer relationships, and even spiritual fulfillment. Let's explore how to embrace your emotional side and turn what you once saw as a weakness into your greatest strength. PASH, practical tips to embrace vulnerability. The first step to embracing your emotional side is creating a safe space for your feelings. When you feel a wave of emotion, resist the urge to suppress it. Instead, allow yourself to experience it fully. Here are a few ways to do this. 1. Journaling. Writing down your thoughts and feelings can help you process them. A journal acts as a private space where you can explore your emotions without fear of judgment. Try writing about the last time you cried and what might have triggered it. 2. Sharing with someone you trust. Vulnerability becomes a source of connection when shared with the right people. Talk to a trusted friend, family member, or counselor about what you're feeling. You may be surprised by how supported and understood you feel. 3. Prayer or meditation. If you're spiritually inclined, prayer or meditation can be a powerful way to process emotions. Use these moments to reflect on your tears as a form of communication with God or the universe. 4. Allow yourself time. Don't rush yourself through emotions. Sometimes, simply sitting with your feelings can be the most healing thing you can do. Tears as a tool for connection. Your emotional side isn't just about understanding yourself, it's also a bridge to others. Crying in front of someone might feel vulnerable, but it can deepen relationships in ways nothing else can. When you allow others to see your tears, you're inviting them into your world. This act of vulnerability fosters empathy and trust. C.S. Lewis said, "To love at all is to be vulnerable." By embracing your emotions, you open the door to deeper, more meaningful connections. Consider this. When was the last time someone cried in front of you? Did it make you think less of them, or did it deepen your compassion and understanding? Chances are it was the latter. Your tears have the same power to inspire and connect. Letting go of the stigma. In many cultures, crying is seen as a sign of weakness, particularly for men. This stigma can make it hard to embrace your emotional side. But imagine how freeing it would be to let go of those societal expectations and simply allow yourself to feel. Remind yourself that crying is natural. It's part of being human. It doesn't mean you're out of control. It means you're in touch with your emotions. And being emotionally aware is a strength, not a flaw. The beauty of emotional strength. Tears are a testament to your resilience. They show that you're willing to face life's highs and lows head on, without numbing yourself to the pain or the joy. In fact, people who embrace their emotional side often find that they experience more gratitude, love, and wonder. By allowing yourself to cry, you're opening yourself up to the full spectrum of life's beauty. Celebrate your tears. Instead of hiding your emotional side, celebrate it. When you cry, remind yourself that you're honoring your feelings and your truth. You're showing up authentically in a world that often demands you put on a mask. As we close, remember that your tears are not a flaw. They're a gift. They're proof that you're alive, fully feeling, and fully human. By embracing your emotional side, you're stepping into a life of greater connection, healing, and meaning. Your tears aren't the end of the story. They're the beginning of a deeper, more beautiful journey. Embrace them. They're part of what makes you extraordinary. Crying easily is not a weakness, it's a profound strength. Throughout this journey, we've uncovered the science, spirituality, and hidden truths behind your tears. They aren't random or meaningless. Your tears are a language of the soul, a signal of emotional depth, spiritual connection, and resilience. We've seen that tears are your body's way of healing, your soul's way of speaking, and your heart's way of letting go. They carry the unspoken prayers, the suppressed emotions, and the profound joys that define your humanity. As C.S. Lewis reminds us, hardship often prepares an ordinary person for an extraordinary destiny. Perhaps your tears are preparing you for something greater than you can imagine. Now, it's time to reframe how you see your tears. Instead of viewing them as something to hide, see them as proof that you're fully alive, feeling, caring, and connecting with life's deepest truths. Crying is not a sign of brokenness. It's a sign of your ability to love, to heal, and to grow. Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. In the comments below, answer this question. When was the last time you cried, and what did it teach you? Your story might inspire someone else to see their tears in a new light. And if this video touched you, please share it with someone who needs this message. Together, we can shift the narrative around crying and show that vulnerability is strength. Finally, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future content like this. Your journey to embracing your emotional side is just beginning, and I can't wait to explore it with you. Thank you for watching, and remember, your tears are your superpower. Embrace them.